Hi, it's Mike Winkler at Medical College of Georgia. I'm with Nia Cortez, Dr. Cortez, and we're going to be going over how to do manual segmentation for the carotids in the skull base. So I see you're thinking about things we've done in the past, Nia. So that's correct. Why don't you click on region of interest? This is a semi-automated technique.
We're going to do freehand or manual?
Well, we're going to do freehand. Okay. In fact, I don't know what manual is. I've only used auto and freehand. We're going to have to figure that out. Okay. And if you go down to the bottom of the tool panel, there's a yellow, yes, reverse. Now, up in object space in the 3D window, you see you have your crosshairs.
Yes.
Just so you remember, and everyone else does in case we post this, X turns that on and off. Why don't you try that now? Just hit the X key.
Oh.
And then you can put it back on with the X key. Now, in the orthogonal plane windows, why don't you hover in the window below the one where you're there. If you hit X now, that'll remove the crosshairs. Hit it again, and puts them back. Nice, right?
Oh, it works on that.
Right.
3 of them. Okay.
So one thing I do when I'm working in object space is make the background gray. And there are 2 different ways to do that. There are the 4 little cubes there, or you can right-click and get a contextual menu and go down to the bottom where it says background color and do any color you want. So if you wanted to do a lemon or a cream or a blue, you could do it from there. All right. Great. Now, the next thing is to window and level so that the carotid arteries are mid-gray. Remember, your window and level are down here in the inferior right corner of these screens. And to make those adjustments, you hold down the right and left mouse buttons together. You'll get an icon change to one that says W and L. And I think up and down is window, and side to side, no, that was level. Okay, and side to side must be the size of the window. So the level is setting mid-gray, and the level is the range of Hounsfield units that we're visualizing. So something like that.
I like that one.
Okay, perfect. So now we're going to focus on the pathway of the carotids through the skull base.
Through the skull base.
Right, we'll do those first. So keep going until you see the carotid siphon. Okay, there it is going through the petrous temporal. We could start, yeah.
Is that good?
That's fine. Okay. Do you remember the name of that foramen it's going into?
I don't.
Yeah. Why don't you pause it and we'll look it up. Remember, I'm a cardiac radiologist. Hover over here and then hit pause. Okay. Carotid foramen. And many textbooks just say the external opening of the carotid canal. But carotid foramen's good enough. So let's start segmenting there. Now, if you hold down the Alt key, you can localize on it. And then for me, manual segmentation always begins by obliquing.
Sorry.
You don't have to be sorry. Hover over the little dot to turn it. So,
oh, okay. There we go.
yeah. Even though in almost every case people will move the axes by rotating, the default everywhere else along except the dot is to translate the axes.
Okay.
Maybe they should have done, we can talk to them about that. So here in the, you know what, this is neither a coronal or sagittal now. I guess we would still call this pseudosagittal.
Pseudosagittal.
Okay, why don't you hold down the middle mouse button and push forward. Just hold it down
Hold it down.
and
then
push the
whole
mouse forward.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
you
toward
zoom
the
out.
screen. That zooms.
That zooms. Okay.
Okay, plenty of zoom.
Oh,
Even
that's so
more.
much better. Oh, so
More.
Okay.
More. Okay, excellent. So
That's
now,
really good.
if you go back to here, click on full resolution, and it's not going to matter here because freehand is always a circle, whether you what mode you're in. Okay, so up here, make sure you're absolutely centered in the vessel with the Alt key. Yeah, I'd make it even bigger. Middle mouse hold, push forward until you can see your voxels. You don't have to hold down Alt to. Oh,
Oh yeah, I want to there we go. We're in the center.
Okay. Now, so rotate it so that you're capturing the long axis of this cross section. Rotate it. Stop there. And then fix it down here and down here. So you're absolutely perpendicular to the tangent of the center line. More or less, that's correct. And then here, rotate it clockwise about 4 degrees. A little more. Sorry, it's more than 4 degrees. A little more. Stop. Go back a little bit. So up here, you're very close to a circle. You need to fix this one a little bit too. Counterclockwise, 3 degrees. Stop. Okay. Right. So
that right there, I don't understand how much I'm supposed to rotate counterclockwise.
well, here in this person, it's an oval.
Right.
Not a sphere
Okay.
in cross section at this point. And I'm going to show you how to segment that right now. Okay?
And then this will be the long axis, and you want it
right,
that
so
to be perpendicular to the long axis.
so we found the cross section of the vessel. Imagine a center line through the vessel. The green here is the tangent of that center line, and the red line here would be perpendicular to the center line at that point. This is the cross section of the vessel, but ideally it would be a circle if the vessel was perfectly round, but in this particular instance it's an oval. That happens. There are places where the aorta is oval. People don't realize it. So one place the aorta is oval often is between the left carotid and the left subclavian. The isthmus, it's slightly oval, and then usually where it passes through the diaphragmatic hiatus, the aorta is also slightly oval. It's also slightly oval at the aortoiliac bifurcation. So the vessels aren't always perfectly circular in cross-section. So if you hover up here and hold down the shift key, you'll get a little red circle. Now roll it in so that the diameter of the circle is equivalent to the short axis of the oval, not the long axis. There. One more roll back. Okay. So now that you've done that, move it slightly out so that the edge of this circle is touching the edge of the long axis. There, good. Now just click once.
Do I hold it
Left
down?
Yeah. Now move it the other way and hold it down until you're at the edge of the long axis that way. And now click. So now this should be when we click on include, it should include voxels there. Click on your little green overlay, that little green circle down there. So you've segmented, I believe, accurately, just voxels that are in the artery. So imagine this distance here. Okay, you're centered in the middle. Before I make another circle, so that I don't really miss any voxels, I go halfway from the center to the periphery. This is painstaking. This is why we're trying to exactly. We're trying to train a machine to do it.
Between the center periphery.
Yeah, just
Right.
hold down Alt and click there. So you see here, you're slightly different.
Yes.
Now, because the vessel's turning rapidly here, we're going to oblique it a little bit more. You know, oblique, counterclockwise a few degrees, stop there. And here you're pretty much dead on. And here,
we need to move a little.
yeah, you can move a little and then adjust the long axes again.
There we go.
Okay. So,
That's good right there.
right.
There we go.
So now hold down Alt. Hold down Shift.
Shift.
Get your little, and make it a little smaller. One more, there, and then take it out to the periphery of the long axis. A little too far, you're picking up a voxel of fat, and then,
Go this way?
yeah, perfect.
Right there. There we go.
Right. And then the other direction, it doesn't look like you need to cover anything, but remember the circle is coming in and out of the plane, so do it anyway. So hold down Shift and bring the edge to the edge, and then click it, and see how it added some blue down here?
Right there.
Yeah, that you didn't realize. So you're not picking up bone anywhere, right? So now hit Include. Okay, so this seems really tedious. We're sculpting by hand, and although it's tedious, just imagine you were, in it's not their laboratory, but you were working for Bernini or one of these old-time sculptors. You were one of their assistants in their lab, making things for the Pope. You'd be doing this in marble with a chisel, not sculpting in data. So this is a lot easier than they had it.
Very much
Okay.
so.
So should we just do a couple more and then we'll stop the video? So come here, and what are you going to do? Or
I'm gonna
here?
get the center
Yeah.
to the periphery, go halfway about here,
Yeah.
and then hold Alt key. And
Yeah.
click. And then we're gonna have to adjust our axes.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Adjust this one first,
First.
because this is the one you're farthest off on.
Okay, so let's go counter. Is
Yeah.
that good? Yeah.
Yeah. And this one still
Okay.
looks okay.
Looks okay, and then that one.
Yeah.
Slight, maybe a few degrees. There we go.
Okay. So then do your circles again. And just remember, even though it looks like they're good on this one already, like maybe you picked up all the voxels in this plane, we're doing our spheres in multiple planes. So click there, and then move it too far, obviously. Okay, right there. So this looks just about perfect. Now see there's a little gap there
Right there.
between the blue and the green.
Yeah.
First of all, hit Include, and then we'll analyze it. So that's a little gap in our segmentation. We're missing a voxel there.
Yeah.
So you can fix that by doing it with the region of interest. Yeah, click that. And if you hold down Shift and just make sure,
How
yeah.
far out am I supposed to go? Would this much be good?
Try to do right at the edge between
Right
the,
there?
no, that's, between the tiny little bit of fat or connective tissue and the vessel. Right there was good.
Like right here.
Yeah, you want to get those, there are 2 voxels there to pick up.
Okay, so I'm gonna do one.
Yep. And then into the middle of the green somewhere.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, and then hit Include. So you picked up
Oh,
one
okay.
voxel there. So, once you get, my recommendation is that you go through the whole thing and then you come back through and fill in gaps. Now, there may be other gaps here, and the way to do that is to rotate this a little bit. Rotate it and watch down here as you rotate around. So there's a voxel that's missing. Don't fix it yet, just rotate through. Let's go 360 degrees so you can inspect your work. You see how there are a few missing voxels?
Yes.
Like there's one right there. Right. And there's a voxel that may be on bone. Right out there.
Right
You
out
see
here.
there's a one
Yes,
voxel
this one
that's
is
bone.
right on bone.
So one thing we're going to do once we get all the way through the skull base is to fix it voxel by voxel. Now this is going to take us a ton of time, but once we feed this data, the segmentation data, to the AI, it'll learn how to do it, and then hopefully humans won't have to do it anymore after that. Okay, so
Just want to go back and forth and see.
yeah, go back and forth a little. There's a missing voxel right there.
Right
Mm-hmm.
here. Right here.
Yep. Okay. So we'll stop this video, and then I want you to do it, and then we'll come back after you've gone and done one example, and then I will fix it and talk through fixing it because there'll be issues. So hover up here and then just